as I sit in my freezing garage with a space heater as my paddle buddy. I meditate over a cigar and a steaming cup of coffee, waiting for the good Lord to share divine insights. It's quiet. I like this. An occasional early driver crunches the ice on the street as he passes by my house, reminding me I'm not the only one up at dark early. Also a reminder it's still winter. Brr. It's quiet again. I hear the sweet sounds of Shannon's wind chimes awakened by a passing breeze interrupting the solitude of the otherwise sleeping world. But it's okay. It's rather soothing. Life is good at the moment. I refuse to let my mind drift onto the challenges the day will bring me. I have a to-do list for that. Right now, it's me and God having a cigar and coffee. Shout out and good morning, folks. Welcome to Friday's episode of Shout Out from the Pit. I'm the Old Rucker, and on behalf of Redbeard and the rest of the Shout Out team, we're hoping your day is going awesome. Well, it's still winter, and for me, with winter comes sinus issues. And hey, if it isn't one sort of an allergy or another, right? Anyway, before I get behind the mic, I have to overdose on caffeine and blow my way through a box of tissues. If you know what I mean, hang in there. Better days are coming. So anyway, thanks for putting up with me today. You know, it was less than a decade ago that I was in a similar situation at dark ugly in the morning. But God wasn't invited, and instead of coffee, it was, well, you know, every alcoholic knows. The sun would arise, bringing life into everything in the world except the dead. The dead don't know the sun is rising. The dead don't feel gratitude and hope, and the dead don't feel misery and despair. The dead don't feel anything. Being alive and feeling miserable and despairing is worse than being dead. Being an empty shell of a nothing burger, what a crappy place to be. And I'm no longer there. A feeling of relief overcomes me. I'm grateful. I think of all the wonderful things I have today, none of which really include possessions, all of which include things associated with love. Yeah, you know. Those of us that escape the devilish grips of an addiction, we know. We're grateful for family and friends. We're grateful for jobs and cars. We're grateful for food and shelter. We're grateful for cigars and coffee and time with God. Life is good today. Yet, even though life is good today, we still have struggles of some sort. Everyone struggles. Struggles suck. And what a funny sounding word, struggle. Struggle rhymes with juggle. Struggle rhymes with muggle. Uggle is a funny combination of syllables. Okay, wow, that was totally random. The definition of struggle is to make forceful or violent efforts to get free of restraint or constriction. Interesting how such a funny sounding word can be such a pain in the backside, yet God never wastes a hurt. Somehow we survive our struggles and generally come out better people. Some struggles are easier to deal with than others. It's the really difficult struggles that get us wrapped around the axle. I know I got to get through those difficult struggles, but how? I hear I got to get motivated, but I don't feel motivated. It's not like I have a drill sergeant shouting me out of bed, though I've been there and it worked. I'm a grown adult now. I'm supposed to be self-motivated, but I'm not. And frankly, sometimes I can't. Do I have a label that needs medication and therapy? Okay, maybe not. I hear inspiration drives motivation. Well, I'm not inspired either. Does God have a spiritual wand and suddenly I'm inspired? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. What I am sure of is that these feelings are natural. Because I'm not dead. I'm a human, a live human, and that's just the way it is. So sometimes I just gotta suck it up, pull up my big boy pants, and get my uninspired, unmotivated arse moving. Get up and get moving. I tell myself that, and it just sounds stupid. But I know nothing happens if nothing happens. Inspiration. What is it, and where does it come from? From within? From without, from God, from a friend, from a family member, a podcast. I want to be motivated, but how do I get motivated if I'm not inspired? And why am I inspired one day and the next day I can't even get out of bed? This roller coaster, it's aggravating. I wish I had the ultimate answer. Inspiration, like misery, it comes and goes. I can't always be on a cloud nine. Hey, what the heck does cloud nine even mean? Right now I don't even care. I get these moments of happiness like when something good happens, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm inspired. I get moments, even periods where I feel down, even depressed, and I just can't seem to pull it together. When we feel like that, what do? Turn to God and pray things change? Sure, that's a good idea. Pray until something happens. Praying is sort of an action, isn't it? Waiting for God to reply, is that action? Good things don't just happen. We gotta make them happen. Well, what does that mean? If something good happens, is it because of my action? Do I get the credit? It makes sense. But if I was miserable and I prayed for change and change comes, do I still get the credit? We can drive ourselves crazy thinking about all this mess. Questions lead to more questions, and I certainly don't have all the answers. But what I do have, thanks to people that experienced ups and downs and share their insight, I have solutions that work for me today. No two people work solutions exactly the same way, though there are similarities. In my infancy stages of recovery, I leaned heavily on folks that had been in recovery longer than me. My life was a hot mess, so anything better than my way was a good way. I literally lived vicariously through other people, staying away from my label, that thing that owned me and was ruining my life. That was number one. Learning to live was number two. As I learned to live by taking suggestions, I discovered what works for me and what doesn't. This new life and the way I was learning to live took on a new meaning. Suggestions, tools from other people became tailored to fit my needs. Looking back, and I don't know when this happened, but instead of just living 100% on suggestions, I began sharing suggestions with others. Now, it's funny how that works. I enter recovery totally broken, down and out, a breath away from death with absolutely nothing to give, and then one day, I'm sharing a suggestion with someone who's going through what I went through. I go from begging for hope to feeling a sense of hope to living in that hope to sharing hope. What an amazing cycle. So why then, years later in my recovery, do I feel like crap? Well, I have a built-in forgetter, and I often forget where I came from. A sense of relief comes in many forms. There's a minor difference between cliff jumping and cliff diving, but those that do either are damn fools. Hey, shout out to Bill, my childhood BFF. One hot August day, these knucklehead teenagers, Bill and Bob, not the authors, by the way, of the AA program. Anyway, Bill and Bob came across a cliff along a lazy river in the desert of northern Arizona. Long story short, we got this crazy idea to jump from that cliff that looked, maybe 50 feet high, but in actuality, when we got to the top, it was like looking down from a skyscraper. After a few cans of liquid courage, if you know what I mean, I jumped. Once I passed the point of no return, there was nothing more I could do other than scream the whole way down. I hit the water like a brick, and I sank like one too. I had no air in my lungs since I screamed it all out. The bottom of the river was only like 10, maybe 15 feet from the surface, but I hit that sucking mud so hard I sank to my ankles. I was stuck, really stuck. I struggled. Oh, the definition of struggles, fits perfectly now. I knew I was dead. Somehow, while my life light began to dim, I freed one foot, then the other. A burst of energy from deep within my desperate desire to live pushed me to the surface. Once I popped through the crest and the air burned its way into my suffocating lungs, I felt a relief, unlike any relief I've ever experienced since. I wasn't going to drown in what was certain death. That sense of relief far surpasses the highway rest stop sort of relief. The difference between soiling my pants and dying is pretty significant. As another kind of relief example, and maybe you can identify, There was a period where I was unemployed. At first it was scary, but not really a big deal. I just looked for a job. But as the days turned into weeks, I began to get nervous. Applications went unanswered. Then I got a call for an interview. I was grateful, hopeful, and, of course, nervous, and I didn't get the job. Now I'm depressed. But I trudge on because I need a job. A few interviews later and a few more rejections, and now I feel completely rejected, and the depression is real. My self-worth is shot. I pray for change. I pray harder. I beg God for help. And finally, miraculously, I get a job. The relief is a high that can't be expressed in words. I thank God and praise Him for this blessing. Life is going to change. I start the job. I'm on a high. I get my first check and I'm getting the bill collectors off my back. Things are going well. Life is great. Been on the job a year now. Things are normal and I'm doing my daily living. A year ago, I made sure to be on time. In fact, I got there 30 minutes early. I did that for a couple of weeks. Then I arrived 15 minutes early. Learned the route to work by heart. I knew every pothole, traffic light, and where the speed traps were. The drive became instinctive. The beauty of the drive I once observed, whether it was landscaping or architecture, became background noise. I found I could leave the house a little later, sleep in a few more minutes. I began to rush out the door, maybe cutting it so close I had to skip breakfast. Traffic was a nuisance, people cutting me off, affecting my mood. I'm at work now, and that new boss is an ass. The guy in the cubicle next to me talks too loud. Great, someone took the last cup of coffee and didn't make a new pot. It's going to be another crappy day. I'm so complacent now that I forgot. It was just a year ago when I was begging God for a job. What the heck happened? I believe I happened. Recovery journeys, getting a job, other kinds of relief. They have stuff in common, like we forget where we came from, and we fall into a mundane rut. A rut of doing and living the same mundane cycle over and over again. Like Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, only we're not learning anything new. Life is going to give us trials. That is life. My life is my recovery program. My recovery program is my life. So what is my recovery program? I shared in an earlier episode REMAP, R-E-M-A-P. Reading, exercise, meditation, anonymous service work, and prayer. Even REMAP has to be changed up sometimes. Not REMAP itself, but the components. Different reading material, different types of service work, different types of exercise. It's like marriages. People get divorced because the flame flickers out. Extramarital relationships happen because a spouse is unhappy and looking for the spark, looking for love in all the wrong places. My mom once told me to try everything possible to save my marriage, or I would have the same problem in my next marriage. Change things up. Check that gratitude list and make some adjustments. Action, action, action. And those are my buzzwords. I don't drink anymore, and many of you aren't stuck in whatever label owned you, but we still get the blues. Like, I feel absolutely miserable after mowing through a gallon of chocolate ice cream. So not doing that avoids the mystery. But why do I do it at all is a mystery. That maybe I need a shrink to help me get through. In the meantime, I know I got to do stuff to keep my mind off that damn ice cream. The more intense the craving for ice cream, the more I must immerse myself in doing something else. Preferably something productive that'll take my mind off of the craving. In a letter from 1959, Bill writes of Dr. Bob, I read, "For Dr. Bob, the insatiable craving for alcohol was evidently a physical phenomenon which bedeviled several of his first years in AA. A time when only days and nights of carrying the message to other alcoholics could cause him to forget about drinking. Although his craving was hard to withstand, it doubtless did account for some part of the intense incentive that went into forming Akron's Group Number 1. Regarding the ups and downs, crap happens. Riding the wave of crap takes determination and faith and hope acceptance too. And of course, a relationship with God. But good things don't just happen. We gotta make them happen while we wait on God to reveal to us what the heck is going on. And sometimes we don't get the answers we're looking for. But just like Dory says in Finding Nemo, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Action, action, action. Listen, if things are going great for you today, awesome. Go and do something for someone else. Keep that flame going. And if things suck today, and I mean really suck, don't sit on the pity pot feeling sorry for yourself. Change your circumstances. Do everything you can to make the situation better. And once you've done all you can do, and there's nothing else you can do, and you still feel like crap, go and do something for someone else. The promises talked about in recovery will come. We just got to do the right thing and stay away from ice cream. You know what I mean? I don't want to say, just take my word for it, but instead, just take my word for it. There's magic in doing good stuff when everything else just sucks. Go forth and do good stuff and never, ever give up. What say you about struggles and relief? Leave a comment and be sure to sign up at shoutoutfromthepit.com, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Hey, subscribing at shoutoutfromthepit.com guarantees you'll never miss Diane's missives full of awesome tools and encouragement, insights from the Shout Out team, and episodes designed to edutain as you trudge the road to happy destiny. And as Ralph says, it's for free and for fun. Part of the magic in our growth, like you haven't heard this before, is doing something for someone else. So give it a go. And if you want to feel good about yourself, do something for someone else. And if no one's told you they love you today, Team Shout Out loves you. So have an outstanding recovery day. And as always, you are not alone. This is the Old Rucker. Peace out.